Hey guys, in this video I'm going to break down my post-competition reverse dieting phase, go through the diet, the training, the supplements, perhaps super supplements maybe, and I'm going to go through it and see exactly what I've done to achieve my best blood markers. Today we've got my EGFR from, I believe, 54 to 92 in this space of about 4, maybe 6 months. I'm going to go through the stack. That's definitely helped me with that. So as you can see here, I've got my bodybuilding tracker. So this is essentially a spreadsheet which I just created myself. Wouldn't take you guys too long at all. You're probably much more savvy with the old sheets than I am. But it says exactly what my weight is, my ab skin fold and thigh skin fold. So the reason why I'm doing that is because, one, I'm keeping a rolling average of my weight each week, and it's being inserted into this bracket here. And that was obviously a couple of weeks back. Next, that's my target, so that's my limit in a sense. But if I go over that limit and my ab skin folds are still the same, happy days. Means more muscle, perhaps more muscle glycogen, better electrolyte balance, I don't know. Could be fluid retention as well, but there we go. More weight, the same body fat, brilliant. Next here, we've got the same sort of thing. So I'm looking to keep this trend just tracking upwards very, very slowly. It's the best way to mitigate impacts on your health. So things like your blood pressure, your blood glucose, things which I carefully monitor and manage. You know, blood pressure is absolutely critical for a bodybuilder's health. If we're looking at the state of bodybuilding nowadays, heart disease, recreational drugs, of course, and kidney disease. They are 3 things which are absolutely killing bodybuilders left, right, and centre. And anyway, as you can see here, I'm just going to carry on with that sort of as I'm going along. And the weight average will next be inserted on Monday, which is a few days from now. Put it in there, and hopefully these ab skin folds remain the same, which means I've just gained muscle, which is absolutely ideal. And I've color coded this into different weeks, basically, just 4-week segments, just to give myself an idea. Okay, I've achieved this in a month, you know, just for my own autistic pleasure. I like a bit of rainbow as well, a bit of fun, you know. A little bit of rainbow never hurt anyone. But yeah, that's the diet side of things. So the diet side of things I do need to go into right now, which is what I've been doing for the last few weeks. Protein's maintained at a steady rate. I've not dropped it significantly since my show, but the fat has gone up quite a bit. So as you can see here, protein, carbs, fats, carnivore diet, animal foods only, with the exception of like maybe a few coffees, eggs at some point, some dairy. That's where the carbs are coming from, guys. The fat's just slowly trickling up. So I can make a bigger jump at the start because my body was very hungry. So I was absolutely ready to get in, you know, 25 roughly grams ahead of baseline intake. So my baseline intake when I was cutting was something like, I believe 400 protein, 20, 30 carbs, and about 150 fat, going down to about 130 at its lowest. We played around with protein a little bit for satiety and digestive health, but largely speaking, I'm probably going to always be on about 350 protein plus per day. So I'm going to continue to do, assuming I get back onto my targets down here, and say the weight this week tracks at 95.5, then these remain the same. Perfect, happy days. We can increase food even more without getting fat, or at least it's a bit less likely. So what I'm going to do here is probably have 360 protein, 20 carbs again, maybe 210, 215 fat. Again, depends on the rolling average, what it is at the end of the week. Now, if we look at various studies where people have done, you know, a pre-contest diet, not specifically pre-contest, but maybe just a weight loss lifestyle client sort of diet. Okay, they've lost, say, 10% of the body weight. The goal is to get that 10% of the body weight back to perform in the gym and recover effectively from your workouts. You're not going to do that if you're titrating up these numbers so slow. So doing 2-3 grams a week is not going to cut it in terms of getting more muscle over the off season, or should I say progression season, to gain muscle mass.
Introducing Beef Up Carnivore Bodybuilding Bible. The ultimate guide for men and women to lose fat and build muscle. And the best part,
Carnivore.
it's only $12. Don't miss out on the most detailed resource available. Get your copy now at compositionconsultant.com.
Now, what I'm finding with most people that are just lifestyle clients, perhaps not bodybuilders, for example, they're only needing like a 2-day refeed over the weekend. I've made videos on this sort of thing before, like leptin resets and all sorts. You can be able to achieve a lot just by getting a 2-day refeed in. So what I say for most people is perhaps you're looking at 10 to 20% food intake plus, if you're eating half a kilo of meat and say 10 eggs per day, okay, that means you're going to be eating maybe 11 eggs per day, maybe even 12 eggs per day, and maybe 550 grams of meat. That's how you do it, guys. Don't complicate it. You don't need to worry about these other things. Just add a bit more food over the week, over the food choices that you do have, the elements of the diet that you do take in each day. Just increase it 10, 20% for 2 days. And you know when to do it because your body becomes sluggish, becomes slow. Leptin becomes very low. Ghrelin becomes very high. You get very, very hungry. Your appetite will tell you, which is absolutely brilliant. Now, for the largest part of my contest preps this year, where I competed in June and competed in October, I found that I was never really that hungry on a carnivore diet. And obviously, looking at this, yeah, you're eating nearly 400 grams of protein per day. No wonder why you're not struggling to feel, that hunger. But your body knows when you're very lean. Your body has these nutrient sensors which kind of say, okay, I've not eaten enough food for a while, whether that be the energy side of it or the nutrition side of it. So is it the B vitamins? Is it the amino acids? Is it the fatty acids? Your body just runs sluggish. Your body just does this thing where it just goes, sod this, I'm going to lower your metabolic rate like fuck. But people will say, oh, but it's all the same, you can't just diet down and not eat. And, the thing is, it's been proven enough through the decades of bodybuilders. Carb cycling, macro cycling, whatever you want to do, whatever your dietary practice is right now, you do benefit from increasing food intake gradually. And that's the goal. Get lean as possible, as fast as possible. Increase food intake when you can at the soonest possible instance. Just ensure you don't dig yourself into a bigger hole. So next we're going to look at the supplement side of things, and I've gone right to town here, as you can tell. What I've done here is absolutely nuts, but I've added these things carefully over the last few years, I guess, and this is what I've landed. Now some of these are more as and when kind of things, and I've got the wrong one here. So the B complex actually should be an as and when thing, which I put down here. So these are things I might sometimes take, but usually can't be asked. I don't like supplements in that sense. I think there's too much. And I will say I'm actually having 1.5 grams of liposomal glutathione per day, which is not on here correctly. But there we go. But yeah, this is largely what I'm taking. I've listed the elemental amount of magnesium, so you guys will have a lot of questions. 200 milligrams, that's nothing. My capsules are 700. No, we're looking at the elemental magnesium portion of the capsules, which is usually shown on the label, if you've got a proper label with a proper product. So keep that in mind. You can probably work out what a lot of these are for, mainly for liver, kidney health. Like I said earlier, these guys that are on stage are pounding the crap out of oral medications, anabolic substances, things like that, especially before the stage. So you are looking to improve your kidney function as much as possible. There's no benefit to not trying to do that. Will the carnivore diet stave off every disease? Well, no, because, bodybuilding in itself is not a natural thing to do. So you have to do unnatural things to help mitigate the damage that you might invoke from your practices, various different PEDs and things. You can see what I've done here. And yeah, load of stuff. Omega-3 oil, there's not rancidity in it, so don't worry about that. Don't even bother asking. It's a waste of time. Some of these now are much more effective and also cheaper than others. So it's not a case of I've added these in and said, you need to do all the expensive ones. No, you do whichever ones work best for you. Some of these will have contraindications. Do your own research. This is not medical advice. Now, if I'm looking at the liver and kidney side of things, which are absolutely critical for even fat burning, just how you feel, your mood, day-to-day stuff. If you're looking at things like maybe choline, help support the liver. NAC, absolutely, definitely works well to convert down to glutathione and other antioxidant sort of compounds. Liposomal glutathione, an oral capsule, does the job, helps tremendously. Quite cost effective. A lot of these, I'd say, you're looking at about, depends what it is, obviously, but £5 to £20 per month for each of these sort of things. Things like taurine might be much, much cheaper because it's a powder, it's not capsulated. So, just bear that in mind when you're sort of budgeting. So it's not a case of spending more and getting more. Some of these things were pennies, honestly, like the taurine, for example, glycine, the D3. Those things are absolutely helpful to carnivore bodybuilder, especially as I get into this sort of wintry phase of the year. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. You can probably imagine, for sleep, magnesium, astragalus for kidney health. Now some of these doses, guys, they're not for you. They're not prescriptive. It's not, I think, Jonathan thinks you should do this. It's just a case of these are what I found effective based on the studies, based on what I've looked at. Things like injectable carnitine, great for mitochondrial function, and I've actually found that particularly helpful for symptoms of autism. And I think there is diminishing returns. I don't think it's a case of doing this, then adding in, I think I got up here, acetyl L-carnitine, then doing that at like 10 grams per day. It seems to be that your body has this diminishing return effect where you take in so much, you get the benefit. Okay, great. Now titrate down until the benefit stops, and stop there. You just need to work out what you need to help support your health and performance goals. Things like omega-3 oil, again, the product I use isn't rancid. It's a clean product. I use Barefoot Nutrition, and some of those other ones as well, but I find that very effective. And if I don't use it, I seem to get a negative impact on my joints. So I try just to be conscious of getting enough omega-3. Now, how much omega-3 do I get per day? If I look to my tracker today, for example, omega-3 being the EPA, DHA kind of components of it, I'm looking at about 10 to 20 grams per day. Now, if I have a big fuck off bit of salmon, or some mackerel, I'm going to be having much higher amounts, 20 grams plus. So that's how I do it. So I'm getting sufficient omega-3 through the diet, but I'm actually supplementing it as well. I'll probably taper off this eventually, just because the body has this cap where you get the certain omega-3 to 6 ratio. I've heard numbers like an index of, I think it's 16% or 12% is very helpful for health in terms of long-term health outcomes. Does it work? Yeah, my joints feel better. So what can I say? Like I said, this is all experimental. There's no rules in bodybuilding. You don't have to take these supplements. They're not a necessity. But I'd look at them very closely and their impact on your blood markers and how you feel, and just try some things that you find cost effective if your health is in a state where it might be beneficial to you. Now let's go over the training a little bit. So this is nothing too interesting. Basically what you've got here, it's very complicated to read out, but it's just where I like to track it. But what I'm basically doing is a 3-day per week full body split. I'm working somewhere around a 60 to 90 second time under load for most body parts. Some things, the weight in the gym doesn't go heavy enough, so I'm introducing isometrics, things like that to help increase the intensity, but without increasing the load, which cannot be increased. So yeah, what we're doing here is effectively specializing the hamstrings and chest muscles. So what you'll notice here is it's just a full body split of the exercises that feel good on my body as an individual. And all I'm doing is plugging in the sort of adductor, hamstring exercises first, and the chest ones, a bit of back, and come back to the side delts, things like that. But that's effectively it, as you can see. I do rotate the exercises around slightly, so ones which might irritate my joints if I overdo it, just because the level of complexity and impact on the body that they might have. Sometimes I'll swap out maybe a seated cable row for a chest supported row. Reduces strain on my lower back because my spine's destroyed. So I'm finding ways to mitigate damage all the time. It's a reinvention process all the time, guys. I found that recently I've got a tear in my left medial deltoid head, the lower third portion. I've got a hematoma just below it. Great fun, not ideal. So I recently took that on board from the scan I had and swapped out for upright cable rows. Now you probably say, but that isn't more shearing force on the joint. For me, no. Joint health is very individual, and I found it to be the one exercise I can really do without loading up the body too much. Now, if I'm doing an upright cable row, say I'm using, I don't know what it is, but say it's 20 kilos. That means 20 to 30 kilos roughly is going through that joint in a controlled fashion. I can see the body move as I'm doing it because it's below me. Now, if I'm doing a shoulder press, I'm pushing above my body, potentially impinging my shoulder joint, which means that I'm going to have a bloody bursting hematoma at some point so I've got to be so careful with the presses and things like that, and upright cable rows, things like that. But yeah, then just tying in some leg compound movements. I'm doing effectively 3 sets for quads per week, 3 sets for hamstrings, and maybe 1 set for biceps. The training volume is based on my level of difficulty that I need to include in the workout to get the result to stimulate the muscle. So more isn't always better, but for me, sometimes it is. So as I progress, as the weeks go on, I might be looking at doing an upper lower split. So effectively I'll be doing the same sort of exercises. Maybe I'll do 2 sets sometimes. Depends what it is, guys. If it's a leg press, I'm going to absolutely benefit from having a warm-up set. Warm-up sets for me, if I ever did them, which is almost never, it's going to be something like maybe 50% of the weight that I'd use in my loading or full proper set. Just feeling the reps. If I can do 20 reps, usually I might just do 5. It's just a case of picking up the weight, finding my active range of motion. How do my hips feel today? How are my knees? How are my joints? You know, that's something. How's my back doing? Okay, if I'm struggling to connect with that exercise, maybe I'll swap the exercise, and it prevents me digging further into my recovery capacity, doing an exercise which could potentially harm me, by meaning I've got an idea of how it's going to feel when I do the proper set. So that's effectively it, guys. My reverse diet plan, my training plan, supplement regime, doing your own research. Hopefully that's been informative. If you've got any questions for me, book a consultation through my usual consultation link, which is always linked below the video. If you are wondering about specific supplements that I've listed there, your best bet, honestly, go onto Amazon, go onto the reviews, do 4-star plus, 5-star plus, what have you. Read through the reviews, find the ones with the smallest ingredient profile, ideally gelatin capsules, and if you're still stuck, you want some sort of Amazon affiliate link. Bear in mind, this only applies to UK products. I can't really find American products. I don't know if it's in stock or not, so it'd be pointless me trying to send you a link for that. Hopefully I can help you that way if you absolutely need it. But yeah, like I said, book a consultation if you're stuck or you're wondering about reverse dieting, training, leptin, ghrelin, wondering how all this comes to play with your carnivore, muscle building or fat loss journey. Thanks very much for watching. Hope that's been informative, and see you guys next time. Cheers.
Check out my site at compositionconsultant.com, where your journey to peak performance and optimal health begins. With a degree in human nutrition and over 15 years of training experience, I've guided more than 400 carnivores to not just meet, but exceed their physique and performance goals. Through personalised consultations, comprehensive ebooks and dedicated coaching, I'm here to ensure your success. Join the ranks of those who have transformed their lives. It's time to align your physique goals with positive health outcomes. Visit compositionconsultant.com today and take the first step towards the best version of you.